English translation, 443rd contact, Sunday, 18th of February, 2007. Ryuzo, 18 hours.
Be welcome and greeted. You are late again, Ptaah, dear friend.
Greetings, Edward. Thanks for your welcome, my friend. We have got a lot to do, that is why I did not come until now. I had to use the hours after our correction work for my other important work.
Yes, I know. You explained this to me in secrecy during our last visit on the 10th of February. Then to something else. On the 17th of February 2005, Quetzal and I talked privately about the conspiracy books of various scribblers, such as Zachariah Sitchin, David Icke, Jan van Holy, alias Jan van Helsing, as well as Andreas von Retje and others. The two of us also talked about it privately, namely at a chess game on the 3rd of March 2005. But as we do not record the private conversations, there is nothing in the contact reports. So I want to come back to the whole thing so that we have something in writing about what to think about the book contents of the mentioned scribblers. Icke also writes in his book, The Greatest Secret, the book that will change the world, about alleged connections and blood relations of the rulers on the earth. There is also talk of a clan or reptiloid race, the alleged Anunnaki, who are supposed to control the Earthlings through the spirit. These reptilian humans are supposed to control the world, politics and humanity, etc. According to Icke, the reptiloids are supposed to come from another dimension, namely from the lower fourth dimension, from where they are supposedly controlled. The nonsense in Icke's and all the other conspiracy theorist books is so unbelievable that it makes the hair stand on end.
All in all, these kinds of nonsensical writings are commercially oriented to make the ruble roll, as you say, so that the scribblers, if I want to use your expression, can fill their pockets with money. The whole of all the conspiracy theories described in all the countless books are based on sheer nonsense, as are the writings in books containing supernaturalism and assertions about the alleged infiltration of earthly governments by extraterrestrials. Conspiracy theories of all kinds, as well as supernatural, occult, and esoteric nonsense, are in great demand among the believers in these drivel. In fact, all the many books of this kind are based on silliness, senselessness, folly, as well as blooming and higher nonsense, as you always say so aptly.
If you will allow me to interrupt, I have a few other terms for the whole thing, such as noble baloney, bullshit, hooey, stupidity and folly, torchlight, ridiculousness, simple-mindedness, gibberish, irrationality and folly, etc. I would also like to say that, with regard to all this nonsense, there are special bookstores which, for good money, bring the rubbish books among the humans, from whom the roaring rubbish is eaten like hotcakes. With very many earth humans, the unreal, untrue, fantastic, occult, esoteric, religious, sectarian, supposedly supernatural and supernatural, is not only considered to be more than truth and reality, but effectively everything.
These are all good terms I will remember. And your explanation hits the truth. Furthermore, these humans are sectarian and esoteric, as well as occult and supernatural, and move in their thoughts and feelings, as well as in their delusional beliefs, in illusory worlds and other unreal imaginings. The entirety of these belief-based things and fantasies has developed into a delusion in them which already moves in schizophrenic forms, whereby they no longer perceive the truth and reality, and consequently also can no longer recognize it. And in this delusional form they infiltrate the humans with their absurdities, which they imagine and also adopt them from other scribblers which you call abkupfern, plagiarizing. Thereby the readers of the entire nonsense are seduced to believingly accept the lies, slanders, the swindle, and the fantasies of these irresponsible scribblers as truth, while they evaluate the reality and the real truth as unrealistic, unreal, and as untruth. Belief is just very much simpler than investigating the effective truth through one's own seeking and one's own cognitive work. Furthermore, the fantastic and illusory will sooner be accepted by the Earth humans than even the truth and reality which appears banal compared to the fantastic and illusory. Therefore, it is so that standing on the firm ground of the facts, truth and reality is prescribed, while the untruthful, fantastic, and illusory and all the swindling, lies, deceit, and slander which is bound with it, which, since time immemorial, have always been booming business, affect the Earth humans like sweet balm, which stills the delight and demand for that which is fantastic and illusory. So lying, swindle, falsehoods, deceit, and slander are means through which the human allows himself or herself to be very easily beguiled, because everything is only swallowed and does not have to truthfully be contemplated, while the search for the effective truth and its processing is bound with very much effort and cognitive work, as well as with a sense for the recognition of reality. However, the irresponsible scribblers, who invent the crazy and unreal as well as unrealistic conspiracy theories, copy the entire nonsense from each other and throw everything to their believers as fodder, and therewith earn much money, know exactly that. That is also the case with the books of the hacks named by you who, without conscience, spread their horrendous nonsense of their dim-witted conspiracy theories and thereby lead their faithful readers into error, convey to them a completely wrong picture of the world, and hound them into angst and terror. The books named by you by David Icke, as well as, however, also the books of Zachariah Sitchin, Van Helsing, and of Retier, belong just as much in the realm of the nonsense and feeble-mindedness of illusory and fantasy-rich conspiracy theories, as also do other similar kinds of works, which, if I may use your words, must be labeled as sheer idiocy and schizophrenic delusional imaginings. Truthfully, from the complete contents there are no things at all to name which could be designated facts of truth and reality, because basically it deals with nothing other than freely invented fantasies and illusions which are irresponsibly given a coating of truth in order to thereby take those Earth humans into their power who believe the dim-witted nonsense and allow themselves to be taken prisoner by it. From the entire exposition of all books of such a kind, no letter may be considered as true because everything is only built on deception. Lies, deceit, slander, fantasies, and illusions, which also applies to the supposed reptiloid beings or reptilian humans. Such kinds of beings are pure inventions of the scribblers because they thereby connect the evil and want to thereby transmit the impression of the evil and diabolical, whereby the Earth humans are driven to angst and terror, which naturally again has its effect on the numbers of sales of the books and brings in great profit. Reptiloid, respectively, reptilian beings, as these are described in the nonsensical books, exist even less in the entire universe than they do in other dimensions of this universe, so however also not on the Earth, also not in forms of transmuted humans. It also corresponds to a lie that such extraterrestrial beings, or other kinds, have lived on the Earth since time immemorial or since more recent times and are even active in the governments. Because assertions which claim that it is true indeed correspond to the crazy fantasies, illusions, angsts, or conscious lies and slandering of the book scribblers. Yet in every regard believers do not, as a rule, let themselves be impressed by the truth. Rather, they faithfully remain in the prison which they themselves delusionally imagine, because that is simpler than having to grapple with the real truth. The truth is just simply and somehow banal, as you tend to say, for which reason it only addresses humans who consciously use their rationality and intellect, while the others who depend on the fantastic and illusory as well as that which pertains to belief, are not willing to free themselves from the nonsensical and the unreal, as well as from their not making use of the rationality and of the intellect.
Those are clear words, just as they already many times were said. But now, once more, a question regarding microfibers. In regard to that, you once said that these are just as dangerous for humans as the nanoparticle, because through microfibers, substances damaging to the health likewise reach the human's lungs. Which substances are they, then? You have indeed already said something about that in a private conversation, yet it would be important that it is also recorded in writing. Therefore, the official question.
In their dry state, nanoparticles separate from the microfibers which are breathed in by humans and which burden the respiratory organs, especially the respiratory tract and the lungs, whereby asthma can be caused, as however also cancer of the respiratory tract and lungs.
As that also is the case with the so-called indoor fountain misting systems and with the room water vaporizers. Recently that was reported about on television, and last Sunday we also spoke about that in the kitchen.
Misting systems with indoor fountains and so forth, as well as humidifiers in living spaces, are extremely damaging to the health. No such apparatuses or devices should be utilized for the accumulation of humidity in living spaces, rather only devices that evaporate water in normal forms.
The kind we have, which you know and have recommended.
I speak of that. These devices also attract the dust from the air and deposit it at the bottom of the water container, after which it can be removed together with the settled lime when the device is cleaned.
That is why the appliance is called an air scrubber.
Which corresponds to the function of the appliance, in addition to the fact that it also evaporates water in a normal manner and thus increases the humidity.
Then I have something here that relates to English forum questions in a kitchen conversation with Christian Freiner, for which I would like to hear your voice. As you know, Christian and I sit together for a long time every third Wednesday of the month, working through English forum questions, which I then comment on or answer in a short way. Of course, we also record everything electronically. And later, when Andrea has copied everything and saved it on disk, I take the recordings into my computer and work them out in detail under the heading Kitchen Conversations. These kitchen conversations are collected and later processed into a book. But do you think the following is correct, or is there anything else to add? Realization of the Ptaah in English Forum Question Kitchen Conversation, 20th of December 2006.
Question. It was stated that the Ptaah only recently realized that terrestrial human beings do not always react or behave in the same form as and how they think.
Answer: they knew that from the beginning. The only thing they did not know was the extent to which the humans of the earth are capable of lying. They only recognized the true extent after they had prepared extensive analyses and created profound clarifications in the years 2003 to 2006 with regard to the ability to lie of the Earth humans. They also discovered that, with very few exceptions known to the Figu, all claims of all those humans on Earth were, and are, based on untruths, and therefore on lies. Who allegedly had or still have contacts with extraterrestrials, or who simply had any encounters with extraterrestrials. Their deceptions referred to this, as well as to a few other cases concerning purely private interests of a few persons who tried to harm Figu by lying. The possibility that the directives of the Ptaah were relaxed made it possible to uncover all the lie paths of those Earthlings who claimed that they were in contact or had been in contact with extraterrestrials or had had any encounters. The deceptions thus only referred to these mentioned factors, but not to other things, so it cannot be said that the Pleiaren were also mistaken in other things and matters. This is really not true, because all statements and explanations of the Pleiaren were always based on truth, except for the statements of the alleged contacts and encounters of Earthlings with extraterrestrials, which also includes alleged abductions and massacres of animals simulated by a certain group of Earthlings. The evil deceptions caused by lies, swindles and fraud, and the resulting false statements through no fault of their own were immediately revised and corrected by the Pleiaren after they had been able to fathom the effective truth by relaxing their directives. Thus, they cannot be accused of spreading false information.
Question after all. They had the directives, which meant that they were not allowed to penetrate deeper into the consciousness of the human beings. If that is the case, because they have only recently come up with it, it probably means that a lot of the information they have already given is not correct. Then everything would have to be revised retroactively.
Answer: it has already been explained that this is not the case, because the misinformation only referred to the things that were explained. And this misinformation was corrected extensively after the effective truth was found out through the extensive and years of clarification. So the Pleiaren cannot be accused of spreading and maintaining false information. They acted in good conscience when they released the misinformation, and as a result, they reproduced exactly what the lying, deceitful, and swindling Earthlings had spread and claimed worldwide. The Pleiaren thus acted in good conscience and trust that the fallible Earthlings spoke and spread the truth. But they were deceived because they were not allowed to penetrate deep enough into the liars, cheats, and deceivers' consciousnesses in order to know the effective truth, because they were bound by their directives in this regard. A deeper penetration and recognition of the real truth became possible only through the relaxation of the directives. And when they found out the truth, they immediately tried to admit their long-standing deception and call it official through the contact conversations. Consequently, the Pleiaren cannot be accused of falsehood or unfairness, either in this respect or otherwise.
Your answers probably do not need any further explanation, for what you have written corresponds to the actual facts, which need not be further elaborated. But what do you have here concerning the heresy of feng shui?
These are questions and answers from a kitchen conversation. If you want to read the whole thing...
Gladly. But you know that this teaching is nonsense and has nothing to do with truth and reality?
Of course I know that. But in order to get a better insight into this heresy, and to be able to give a correct answer, I had to find out more about it and deal with it in the last 2 days. The result is now what you have before you. Please, you can read it.
Thank you.
Ptaah reads with interest.
Feng Shui, the 21st of December, 2005, dated answer.
Question: Feng Shui, how far should one research this?
Answer: Feng Shui. Feng Shui. Feng Shui in the West, Neo-Feng Shui. Wind and water is a Chinese teaching, a belief or delusion, whose alleged effect is based on imagination. Feng Shui belongs to the classical Chinese philosophical systems, whereby the Feng Shui system is supposed to be useful for harmonizing building projects and living spaces. The older Feng Shui term is Kan Yu, which is a short form for observing heaven and earth. According to the traditional Chinese idea, the spirits of the air and water should be able to be inclined. These should have the effect of harmonizing building projects, living spaces, living room and room furnishings and interior design, etc., as well as gardens, house architecture, and landscape design. In this regard, there are various rules to ensure that so-called blocked energies cannot settle in rooms, objects and installations, etc., that are aligned according to Feng Shui, which would allow the so-called Qi-Si-Qi teaching below to flow freely. This is an assertion that is not scientifically verifiable and cannot be verified. Basically, the Ptaah declare that the whole thing is based on a delusional matter of faith and pure imagination, which causes a false sense of well-being. Feng Shui is based, as already mentioned, on some central Chinese philosophical systems, such as the yin-yang teachings. The two basic forces into which the universal life force qi, that is to say qi is said to be the most important basis of Feng Shui theory. Yang is male, Yer red color, and Yin female. Black color, as well as the 8 trigrams 3-line signs consisting of broken Yin and through Yang lines. The building blocks of the hexagrams, the I Ching, that is to say Yi King, that is to say I Ching. Chinese Book of Changes, a Chinese oracle system, as well as the 5 elements theory. For years, the teachings of Feng Shui have been merging with Western ideas of esotericism, which also has an impact on Western architecture and interior design. The term Feng Shui is an abbreviation for a sentence coined by a certain Guo Po, CK, AD 300, and which is written in the Book of Rites, as qi is dispersed by the wind and stops at the water's edge. Since then, the terms wind and water have been used for the art of protecting qi from the wind and influencing it with water. The delusion of the Feng Shui teachings goes on to say that as an aid to harmonizing spaces, etc., objects are used, such as amulets, calabashes, or bulbous vessels with long necks made from the fruit of the gourd or calabash tree, or landscapes, etc. The theories of Feng Shui are extensive and include, for example, the belief in color design and the energetic influence of fragrances and crystals. In addition to the fact that, especially in Western neo-Feng Shui, numerous aids are used, ranging from wind chimes, colored fabrics and crystals to water posters, gold stones, and indoor fountains, and so on and so forth. This, so the delusion goes, is supposed to regulate the flow of the life energy qi, especially in living rooms. New Age Feng Shui, or Neo-Feng Shui, is not based on the points of the compass, but applies measures that relate to the entrance to the house or apartment door. In contrast to this, the classical Feng Shui in China tries to exert influence already during the construction measures. Feng Shui was banned by Mao Zedong after the Communist Revolution in China, whereby many Feng Shui writings were banned and destroyed, and Feng Shui practitioners were forced to abandon the teaching. The fact that Feng Shui is based solely on imagination and delusion is something that the practitioners of these teachings do not want to admit, because their erroneous belief in esoteric, occult, supernatural, or supernatural things is anchored in them in such a wise, usually already by inheritance, that they are not able to free themselves from it and thus live far from any reality. Thus they do not realize that it is not Feng Shui that determines the harmonious design of a room or garden, etc., but the harmonious state of the entire mental block, which determines what is considered harmonious or disharmonious. So the consciousness, its thoughts and feelings, as well as the psyche in its freedom, love and harmony, as well as in its peace, are responsible for the personal and general well-being of a person. And only from this, the attitude and the state of disharmony or harmony that is brought into a room or into a facility, etc., results. So Feng Shui is not even a thing whose effect can be speculated about, because there is no such thing, but everything is a matter of view and attitude of the person. Feng Shui is basically a teaching of artistic design, of architecture and interior design, as well as of facilities and landscapes, etc., but it is not an applied science in relation to a universal life force. Therefore, Feng Shui has nothing to do with the cosmic electromagnetic life energy. Only the mental attitude and the aesthetic perception of the human being determines what he or she perceives as harmonic or disharmonic, whereby neither swinging waves of stars, nor cardinal points or cosmic influences, etc., are decisive. Qi teaching qi is the factor of what is known as the universal life force, which is also listed and plays an important role in the healing exercises of traditional Chinese medicine. This energy is said to occur in the human and animal body in various forms. If, as the Chinese teachings say, the qi is in balance, then the person should enjoy constant health as well as fulfillment, happiness, and well-being. Qi should be the responsible force for all body organs as well as for the practices of feng shui, if qi can flow freely. The teaching also says that qi acts as a catalyst for all metabolism, as well as being the basis of energy balance, determining mind and intellect. The teaching further states that some human beings are born with good qi, but an unhealthy lifestyle quickly drains their reserves. According to the qi teachings, other people are more likely to be born with sluggish qi, but by careful handling they can enrich it, so to speak. In any case, the teaching continues, people must keep their qi in shape and ensure that it can flow unhindered through the body. Now, if this qi teaching is considered, then the whole thing is probably correct, but it also works without esoteric and religious fanfare. Because behind qi there is nothing else hidden but the human being's neutral positive attitude in every respect, whereby the whole body moves in a state of well-being. Because the thoughts and feelings are neutral positively balanced, which of course also affects the psyche and consciousness, which means that the whole mental block is flooded with life-affirming energy and power. This life-affirming energy and power has therefore nothing to do with a universal life force, nor with the cosmic electromagnetic life energy, but solely with the attitude to life of the person who determines his or her life energy through their mental block and thus also through their behavior with regard to their life and its ups and downs. Thus, the person alone determines their state of health, well-being, and all other vital factors, and through this, they also determine their life energy, because their behavior, their rationality, and their intellect are responsible, through which he or she determines everything that concerns their life. The life force by which the human being's life is determined is therefore a product of the human being themselves and has nothing to do with a universal life force. Only rationality, intellect, thoughts and feelings, as well as the psyche, consciousness and behavior, and the life energy and life force arising from them, determine the well-being and woe of the human being in every respect. The QI theory. According to feng shui, qi is the most important basis of QI, whereby qi as invisible life energy is all around the human being and flows in every being and in every cell. Qi is the energy that animates and shapes everything. Qi is called Qi in Japan, Shi in China, and Odom, or life energy, in the West. The task of a feng shui consultant is to recognize the movement of qi in the house and in the environment in order to harmonize and increase it. Positive results in health, harmony, and success of the person could be achieved by an accumulation of favorable qi. Teaching of yin and yang. Yin should be the qi of mountains and tranquility. Yang, on the other hand, the qi of roads, water, and sloping terrain. The teaching, which originates from Taoism, is supposed to promote the balance between all opposites. In New Age feng shui, the teaching of yin and yang is applied to the home alone. For example, in the yang areas or active areas such as the study and living room, and in the yin areas or rest areas such as the mediation room and bedroom. Each area had to be adapted to its functionality, and the arrangement of the rooms had to be harmoniously designed. Teaching of the 5 elements. The feng shui theory claims that the energy qi is no longer analyzed and balanced on 2, but on 5 levels. Here, the knowledge of the effect of color, form, mass, and sound on the human being is extremely important. By attaching aids, colors, or objects, a balancing of the place can be carried out. Luantou. The landscape school is the oldest school in terms of feng shui, but is still largely unknown in the Western world. In this school, the positioning of the house in relation to the landscape formation is evaluated. Compass teaching Li Chi Pai. The geomantic compass, Luopan, a circle in a square, symbolizes the connection of heaven and earth by its form. According to the feng shui teachings, the influence of the stars should manifest itself in certain formations of nature. By measuring the direction of the compass, the energetic quality of the house to be examined can be determined. Flying stars teaching? This teaching is a part of Leaky Pie Compass teaching, which is said to analyze the influence of 9 stars and their temporal influences in relation to the landscape, the house, or apartment. The 9 stars correspond in their characteristics and properties to the 8 trigrams on which the I Ching is based, plus a further star that symbolizes the center or the middle. The optimal positioning in the environment of the house changes due to the temporal alternation of yin and yang, which allegedly creates favorable and unfavorable influences, which supposedly can be taken into account, and indeed through a correct utilization of the space.
Question. The entrance must be there and the window.
Answer right. Already Simyase explained early, also Quetzal and Ptaah, that the teachings of feng shui and qi are baloney, respectively nonsense. But nevertheless, thick books are written about them, seminars are held, and schools are run.
Question Ptaah writes pseudoscience about this.
Answer. This is also true because most qi teachings, and especially the feng shui teachings, are pseudosciences that have existed since ancient times. However, humans want to be deceived and would rather believe in occult, esoteric, supernatural, and supernatural delusional teachings than in the effective teaching of the truth, which deals solely with reality. Especially all the teachings of the Far East concerning the occult, religious, esoteric, supernatural, and otherworldly have found great popularity in the Western world and have triggered a real boom, which has left countless people in a state of hopelessness because they are unable to detach themselves from the unreal that lulls them and turn to the hard reality. On the contrary, they seek the unreal and fantastic, which remains inexplicable to them because their intelligence is so misled by all the religions, sects, false philosophies, as well as by all the occult, extraterrestrial, esoteric, and other crazy and insane, that they can no longer recognize, perceive, and understand the simple and banal truth and reality as such. Only the fantastic, the inexplicable, the supposedly supernatural and otherworldly still counts.
Question. What is the relationship between Qigong and Tai Chi and Feng Shui?
Answer. Qigong and Tai Chi exercises have nothing to do with Feng Shui, because Qigong and Tai Chi are health teachings, or self-healing exercises, or energy exercises, or the art of breathing. But wrongly, the yin and yang of Qi and the 5 elements also play a role. What is to be said about Qi as a life energy has already been explained why this fallacy Qi as a life energy can be disregarded. Through the exercises of Qigong and the Qigong form of Tai Chi, which, as very good self-healing exercises and health teachings, have good effects and therefore do not belong to the realm of nonsense, the body is freed from tension and the development of the personality is strengthened. Through Qigong and Tai Chi, the breathing is deepened and harmonized and the circulation is regulated, which promotes general well-being. Both methods lead to inner peace, calmness, and harmony. Through slow and mindful movements, muscles, tendons, and ligaments are gently trained, bones and joints are strengthened, and the internal organs are stimulated. Concerning these exercises, there are good books and writings in the trade, through whose good descriptions the techniques of Qigong and Tai Chi can be learned.
Your explanations are astonishingly good if I think that you have only gone deeper into it in the last 2 days.
I will just have to use my time on the double. It is like writing, where I have to formulate everything so that it fits right from the start, without having to revise what I have written. It is not possible for me to work how all authors do, to write something and then correct and rewrite it umpteen times. So what I learn I have to do quickly and in such that it fits, just as it is with writing. There are, of course, spelling mistakes in writing, especially because I write fast. But I think that the spelling, grammar, and orthography mistakes are kept within limits. But what about predictions for the next week or so?
Your writing, grammar, and spelling skills are the envy of various opponents, as I have often noticed when I watched certain of your enemies. Their envy seduced them early on to accuse you of not writing all your writings and books, etc. yourself, but of copying them from some author or receiving them as a medium from spirits, demons and angels, from other worldly or other beings, which is, of course, pure nonsense, because you create everything from your own power of consciousness, for which we Ptaah and also all core group members can bear witness. But regarding the predictions, apart from the fact that Ahmadinejad, the Iranian president, is letting a UN ultimatum pass regarding the cessation of nuclear research and uranium enrichment, nothing worth mentioning can be reported until the 23rd of February. If anything extraordinary should happen after the 23rd of February until the 3rd of March, I will inform Injana about it because she will visit you at the time of the core group meeting to discuss some things of a private nature. And that, Edward, is my time for today. But I should not forget to bring you greetings from my daughters Simya, Say, and Plaja, as well as from the girl Claudena Ikarina, who is obviously especially fond of you.
Oh, thank you very much. And of course, I would like to send my warm greetings back. Also, all the others I know, give them my very best regards.